Good morning. Welcome to your English class. Today we are going to deal with the grammar lesson. So before we start, let's look at these words and try to guess the tense that we are going to see. So we have yesterday, in 2010, before, and last time. So this is a time reference for what? Is it for simple present, simple past, or simple future? Yes, of course, it is for simple past tense. Yes, these are time references for simple past tense. So, we are going to deal with simple past tense of regular verbs. In doing so, we are going to pass through form of simple past, pronunciation of ed in simple past tense, and some spelling rules related to simple past tense. First, form of simple past tense. We have three sentences, one affirmative, another negative, and the last one is interrogative. We are going to look at each one of them and try to find out the rule of each form, the rule of the affirmative form, negative form, and interrogative form in simple past tense. Okay, so my father worked in a farm before. This sentence starts with my father. My father in this sentence is what? Is a subject, good. And it is followed by work as a verb. Yes, the verb work plus what? Plus ed, because it is in the past. So to put a verb in the past simple of regular verbs, we add an ed to the verb. Yes, this is the affirmative, of course. The second one, the second sentence, we did not or we didn't study last month. This is a negative sentence because there is a negation. We have didn't. So this sentence contains we as a subject plus what? What follows we is didn't, and what follows didn't is a verb study. Yes, a verb, and it is of course infinitive. So the rule of the negative form of simple past tense of regular verbs is subject plus didn't plus verb infinitive, not conjugated. Okay, the last one is interrogative. Yes, because we have a question mark at the end, of course, and this sentence contains at the beginning an auxiliary did plus what? Plus subject, we have you, did you, plus what? Plus travel, the verb travel infinitive, yes. And of course, at the end of the sentence, we have to put a question mark. So these are the three forms of past simple regular verbs: affirmative, negative, and interrogative. So we are going to apply these three rules on the following sentence. We have an affirmative sentence: you prepared for your exams last year. Now try to put this sentence in the negative form and in the interrogative form. Yes, in the negative form, we are going to put subject. We have you in this sentence plus didn't, which is not mentioned in the affirmative sentence, plus verb not conjugated. Yes, so we may have something like you didn't prepare for your exams last year. Yes, you subjects didn't, yes, and prepare for your exams last year. For the interrogative form, we are going to start with the auxiliary did plus subject you plus verb infinitive, which is in this sentence prepare. Okay, so did you prepare for your exams last year? Plus question mark, of course. So these are the three forms of past simple of regular verbs. Then we move to pronunciation of ed. Okay, you may know that this ed that we add to the verb to put it in a simple past is pronounced in three different ways. It may be t or d or id. So look at the three groups of verbs or of sounds below and try to find out verbs that end in the following consonants. Okay, we have l for call and n for what? A verb that ends in n. We have clean plus ed of simple past, of course. We have a r in offer plus ed of simple past. We have j in damage and ed of simple past. We have v in love, okay. Then z in amaze. We have m in claim, and we have y in play. Okay, so let's try to guess the pronunciation of this ed in this group. Is it t or d or id? Do we say cold or called or called? Of course it is called. And the second one, cleaned, offered, damaged, loved, amazed, claimed, and played. So the pronunciation of ed in this group is d. Excellent. We move to the second category. We have p, k, sh, and ch, f, s, and x. So p for help plus ed. We have k in a verb like look or cook plus ed. We have sh in wash plus ed. Ch in watch plus ed of simple past. And f in laugh plus ed. We have s in kiss and dance, and the last one, fix. So the pronunciation of this group, is it t or id? Do we say helped or helped? Of course it is helped. So helped, looked, washed, watched, laughed, kissed, danced, and fixed. So when the verb ends in the following sounds, p, k, sh, s, and x, we pronounce the ed as t. Excellent. The last group, we have t and d, two types of verbs. The verbs in this group may end in t or d. So t for want and d for need. Okay, plus ed of simple past, of course. So do we say wanted or wanted or wanted? Of course it is wanted, needed. So the pronunciation of ed with these sounds is id. Excellent. So these are the three groups that explain the pronunciation of ed of simple past of regular verbs. Now we move to spelling rules. Of course, we have some spelling rules related to the simple past of regular verbs. We know that verbs like work becomes worked, we add ed. Watch becomes watched, we add ed. Okay, we add ed to the verb to put it in the simple past. But we have verbs like study, which becomes studied. We add ied. We drop the y at the end of study, and replace it with another I. Then we add ed. And we may have verbs like stop, which becomes stopped. We put stop and we put another p, that is, we double the last consonant and then we add ed. Or we may have something like love, which becomes loved, and we add only D. The question here is why? Why do we have these changes? So we start from the first case, which is study, verbs that end in Y. Study, that becomes studied. We add IED. When we have verbs that end in Y, we have to look at the preceding consonant or the preceding letter. If it is a consonant, like the case in study, we have Y preceded by a D, which is consonant, not vowel. Okay? Then we drop the Y and add IED. And of course, when we have consonants before the Y, which is D in this case. Okay? But in play, we also have Y at the end of the verb, but it is not preceded with a consonant. It is preceded with what? The vowel. We have A, play, A. So in this case, we keep the Y and add ED as we did before with work and watch. Okay, this is the first case of the Y. The second case, which is stop, stops, that we double the last consonant. In stop, we double P plus ed. In this case, we have to look at the three last letters of the verb. If it is consonant, vowel, consonant, then we doubled the last consonant and add ed, as the case in stop, stopped. But as the case in stop and stopped, travel, traveled. We have one L, but in the simple past we double the L. And also we have cancel, one L becomes two in simple past plus ed. So this is the second case. The last one we have love, we add only D. In this case, whenever we have verbs that end in E at the end, we add only D. Love, for example, love, loved. Prepare ends in E, prepared, only D. So whenever we have verbs that end in E, we add only D because we have already the E in the verb. So this is for some spelling rules. Now let's practice all what we have seen in this lesson. So put the verbs between parentheses in the simple past tense. We have last night, my friend cooked dinner for himself. Is it negative, interrogative, or affirmative? We have no sign that it is interrogative because we don't have a question mark. And of course, we don't have a negation between parentheses, so it is affirmative. So put the verb cook in the simple past. Okay. The second one, yesterday my brother and I. My brother and I. We have not stay. Not stay. So we have a negation, so it is a negative. And we have also stay that ends in a Y. Be careful to the rule. Okay. In the previous class, I learned new information. No sign that it is interrogative or negative because we have only learn. So put the verb learn in simple past. Number 4, you remember. We have a pronoun and a verb, blank, this person, question mark. So it is interrogative form. In this case, we are going to apply the interrogative form, the rule of interrogative form of simple past. The last one, we have last Monday, I stay at school after morning class. We have last Monday, I stay, the verb stay, at school after morning class. We have stay between parentheses and it is a verb that ends in Y. Be careful to the rule also. So, Shall we correct? Okay, the first one, cooked, because it is affirmative. So in the affirmative form, we add only ed to the verb. The second one is negative because we have not, so it becomes didn't stay. Yesterday my brother and I didn't stay. My brother and I is subject plus didn't plus verb stay, infinitive, at home. Number 3, in the previous class I learned, so it is learned new information. It is affirmative, we add only ed. Number 4, you remember, and it is interrogative, so we start with did. Yes, did you remember this person? Yes. The last one we have stay, and it is affirmative. Let's see. Stayed, excellent. Stayed, we keep the y and add ed because we have seen that if the y is preceded by a vowel, we keep the y, just like in play we have seen earlier. Okay, last Monday I stayed at school after morning class. This is all for today. Thank you for watching.